All right, yes, we're back. It's another week and it's another time to bring to you the most exciting show on YouTube or any other platform right now. It's called Game On. Yeah, my name is Joseph Faulkner. Welcome you to the show. The rest of the guys are here as well. Eddie Akwa. Eddie, how are you doing today?
Very well, Kali, and I am just reveling in this absolute bliss that we are in. It's been a great couple of days. Nketia, your defense is in trouble. Oh, Nketia's in trouble. So I'm absolutely buzzing for my man, Eddie Nketiah. Welcome to the show, guys. Like, subscribe, share this with all your friends and people you owe money. And let them know about the hottest show on YouTube.
They might just pardon you. They might just pardon what you're owing.
They might just pardon you.
All right. Festus Chuku is also here. We call him Face. Festus, how are you?
Kali, I'm good. It's been a very cold morning right out here, and despite that, we're all still happy and buzzing with the fantastic display Arsenal gave.
Yes,
we were able to, get our revenge finally. The only team that has defeated us this season. We were able to actually let them know that the first game was a fluke. This is the real Arsenal, and we're here to stay. Kali, it's been a great time. It's always a great time, hanging out with you guys. And I know we're going to have a fantastic time.
Awesome. Guys, remember what we always say. We ask you to share this with all your friends, your network, everybody, even your enemies. They might turn around, becoming your friend for, sharing this with them. And let us know what you think about the show. Let us know what you think about what we can do better, what we can change. Every suggestion is welcome. We'll take it on board and all of that. And then remember, click the notification button so that every time we upload, you are notified of new content. You don't want to miss anything on this channel. All right, guys. And talking about what happened at the weekend, let's start off with that amazing game. Manchester United, Arsenal. The only team to have beaten Arsenal this season, Manchester United. I know some of you looked at it as a revenge mission. I just felt it's just another game. I know. I'm going to let's do a general overview of the game. First of all, for me, I think it was a beautifully contested game. That rivalry is back. The two sides were not doing well for a long time, so the rivalry was cooling off. But we remember those days, the days of Roy Keane, Patrick Vieira. The rivalry between these two sides was bigger than any other rivalry in the league. Two of them were taking turns, to win the title. It's something that Liverpool and City started doing in recent years. But that rivalry is back. It's the most viewed or most watched single football event on NBC ever. The numbers were crazy. That's to tell you how good these two sides are doing. But let's talk about the game itself. And Eddie, I'm going to start with you this one. First 45 minutes, Arsenal looked shaky. First 15-20 minutes of the game looked shaky. United running rings over Arsenal. But second 45 minutes, Arsenal were in total control of that game. To the point that even when it was 2-2, for some reason, I just knew that a goal was going to come from somewhere. A goal was just going to come from. So let's talk us through that game, Eddie.
Yeah, so I think what's happening here, we're seeing right in front of our very eyes the evolution of the Arsenal team, the maturity, the resilience that this team has gotten. They always say that, you look at the scars that you've had, through your journey, and those scars tell a story. And if you look at all of those players, they've all had one sort of scar or the other. Whether it's, Saka, everything that he went through, after the Euros, all the abuse that he received and how he's come out of it, almost like, he stepped out of all the shadows of all that and even became a better player. Look at Xhaka, Xhaka, the whole thing that happened with him, with the Arsenal fans. Now he's very, very key to what Arsenal is doing. Look at Eddie Nketiah. He was told that he cannot take over the mantle of Gabriel Jesus, and look at what he's doing. And I think before our very own eyes, we need to really enjoy this moment. And I love what the Arsenal players are doing. They're enjoying the moment. So if we go back to the pitch, we start that game and, it was built up. Everybody was talking about this is going to be the game that we would really know if Arsenal can really do something in the title race. And moreover, is Manchester United in the title race, because Manchester United were coming in on a very hot streak. You know, they had won, you know, a lot of their games, only dropping those points against Crystal Palace. And, you know, so it was looking like the team that beats you at Old Trafford, you know, are they going to do the same at the Emirates? So it was understandable that there was initial nerves, but it felt like as soon as that first goal went in, it kind of settled the Arsenal players. You know, it was like, okay, you know, what's the worst that can happen? Okay, the goal has gone in. You know, the crowd responded in a fantastic way, urging the players on, and it was not a surprise that we got back into the game. I want to look at, you know, the players that had a key impact in that game. You know, we're talking about the likes of Eddie Nketiah, obviously, you know, had a fantastic game. You know, Tomiyasu came in the second half, you know, made a difference. And, you know, what we were able to do was keep Christian Eriksen, you know, very, very quiet in that game. And if I remember in Old Trafford, he was a menace to us. You know, he was falling into those pockets. We couldn't follow him, and he was creating those passes that eventually caused havoc to us. I mean, special mention to Rashford. You know, Rashford is absolutely in form right now. So it's almost like he needed to have his customary goal in that game. But I want to give credit, you know, to the Arsenal players, give credit to the fans, and also give credit to the manager. I think the manager, you heard me right, the manager did a good job in preparing his team for that game, because I think you have to prepare, you know, the team emotionally, not just tactically, for the game against Manchester United.
Interesting enough. I hear you. I hear you clearly. But Festus, anybody can argue anything about that game. You know, you talk about the goods and whatever, but you've got to give credit to Erik ten Hag and how far he has brought Manchester United. Even the game United won, you know, the reverse at Old Trafford, I don't think United played this well.
True, Kali. We can't take away the fact that United also, well, you know, gave us a match to remember. The ordinarily, if they've played any lesser team or any team other than Arsenal, they could have won that game easily. In fact, they could have dominated that game and won that game easily. It's just that unfortunately they met a team that is in red hot form. United has been playing well, and you could see how they bounced back in the FA Cup, you know, going away to win 2-0 easily with Casemiro coming back to the team. And also, I believe Casemiro has been in that team. It could have, I don't know if the result would have been different, but I think United would have been better also, because he really has a whole lot to that team. They were unfortunate to have lost him before that match. Ten Hag clearly has done something remarkable. He has rejected that team and he has done well. But Kali, let me point out something also. Before that match, a lot of people were saying Arsenal was just making noise. They said it has gone from a 2-horse race to a 3-horse race. Man U is there. They are in for the title. And you know what Teta said? Teta told them, hey guys, hold my beer. He removed his belt and gave Ten Hag and his boys a sound beating. So kudos to Arteta. We have seen him prepare for matches in different ways. We have seen his game plan change from match to match, and this is giving you a clear vision of a coach that knows what he wants and what he's doing. That match clearly reminds me of the Wenger-Ferguson rivalry. When the likes of Vieira and co. When either we play in Old Trafford or we play in Emirates or hybrid back then, it was always a match to remember. If you look at the stats in that match, I still give it to Arsenal clearly. Kali, you said first 45 minutes, but I don't think it was up. I think it was just about 25 minutes beginning of the game when they scored that. They scored around 17th minutes. They dominated for like around 20 minutes. And immediately they scored and gradually started getting back to that game. And immediately we got the equalizer. I think we got the equalizer around 24, 25 minutes. And that game changed onwards. From there, we never looked back. Even when we scored our second goal and they equalized, we were still dominating that game. if you look at all the stats in that game, it's clearly you see that Arsenal had an upper hand in that game. We had a total of 12 shots in that match, and we had 7 off target and 5. Meanwhile, Man U had like 4 shots. So second half was total blowout. Second half, the possession was about 70-30. First half, it was like about 50-50, But in all, you see that the total possession for the whole game was about Arsenal 58 and Man U 42, which still points to, a highly contested match. Kudos to those guys. Eddie mentioned some guys that did well, but I think clearly Saka was miles ahead of every one of them. Saka had a great match. He showed that he's becoming a world-class player. And Kali, I really fear if we can hold on to Kali next season, because I know the likes of Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, and co will start cycling. And thank God his contract has been enhanced, but I still wonder if the enticements we could be able to hold on to that guy, because what he brings to an Arsenal side on his good day. Look at that goal he scored. World class, a goal to remember. That goal will clearly contest goal of the season at the end of this year. So Saka was miles ahead of her, but kudos to every Arsenal player, because they all had a fantastic game. They all bounced back from that first goal, rallied around the team, worked with the fans, the energy the fans were feeding off to them, and we had a great game.
Awesome. We had a great game. But I hear you guys. And you talked about Casemiro. And Eddie, I want you to talk about this. What exactly would United have done differently with Casemiro on the field?
I think Casemiro brings a world of experience into the United team. And there's something to be said about experience when you know that there's a certain player that is there. There's also a confidence that resonates across the team, especially in that middle of the pack for United. And Casemiro is a quality player. So I would have expected that he would have had a job in that team, to really marshal Odegaard, across the middle of the pack. I think that if you look at the guys that were tasked with that role, Fred and, to a large extent, Bruno, you have to say that they're not in the same kind of bracket as Casemiro. So I would have seen, Casemiro play a difference. Now, I don't know whether that would necessarily have changed the outcome, of that game. But I think that their midfield would have fared, slightly better than what they did with Casemiro there, because it's pure quality. I mean, you only need to look at the games. I can remember a lot of times where he's almost intercepted. His anticipation is great, when it comes to blocking the passing lanes in the middle of the park. He's very, very good with, trying to retrieve the balls, and starting, attacks, for Manchester United. He steps into those, crossing lanes, passing lanes very, very effortlessly. And his guile and control of the ball just gives confidence, to the rest of the team. So that once he gets the ball, the front players already turn their back and they are running towards goal, because they know that he's capable of delivering the balls as well. So I think United missed that, without a doubt, with what Casemiro brings, to the team. So yes, I would say that he was a miss for United.
Well, I'd clearly say that whether he was there or not, they were still going to chop it. They were still going to chop it. Because I think Arsenal were pumped.
I wasn't expecting anything.
No, but you look at the Arsenal side. For instance, Arsenal went down a goal, and it did not change the way Arsenal was playing. It did not change the way they kept. Yes, I felt like Arsenal started the game being very careful, because this is United. Maybe the memory of that only loss of the season was playing in their head. But I thought they were very, very nervous at the beginning. So we saw unusual errors from players like Partey, Xhaka, from Saliba, and even Ben White. And then at some point, Ben White was being too careful to even go into tackles. I wasn't surprised that he was removed in the.
No, I heard he wasn't feeling too fine. I heard he was a bit sick, so he clearly showed.
So maybe that was why he played. Maybe that was why he played the way he played. But at the end of the day, the team was too cautious in the first few minutes of the game. But the moment they got going, the moment they got into after that goal they considered against the Rashford goal, you saw the team pick themselves up and they now started stringing the passes together. I don't think Casemiro will have been able to alone, break Arsenal from stringing passes together. I do not think the team will have done better than they did in that game, because they were going to be on the back foot for most of the game. Yes, Casemiro brings a bit more class, but then the way Tomiyasu and Zinchenko, the way they marshaled the channels, they ran the channels, I think he will have had to do a lot more defending. And when you saw him, the game where he got the yellow card, when the pressure gets too much on him, he has shown that he can make mistakes. So for all it's worth, he could have even gotten sent off, because if he had sat too tightly on what's his name, Odegaard, that could have led to Odegaard drawing fouls and all of that from him. And you don't want that in big games like that. So I think, yes, maybe they missed his ball winning abilities. They miss him starting attacks for them. But at the same time, one of the things that could have happened is could have worked against them, in the sense that we get free kicks in dangerous areas. Who knows, even penalty at the end of the day. But for me, I think the Arsenal guys, one of the mentality I've seen this season is, even when they go down a goal, they keep their heads up. They don't lose their head. They keep playing the way they play, the way they've come to know how to play. And that's what is beautiful about watching this Arsenal side. But away from the Arsenal, okay, well, let's still talk about the game. Does this, because before the game, I think, Festus, you alluded to that just now. Before the game, a lot of people thought this was going to be the season-defining match. But is it really a season definer? Is it really a match? Arsenal still has to play Manchester City twice. Arsenal still has to go to play against Liverpool at Anfield. Is this really the season-defining match?
Kali, I don't think so. This is just our 19th game, which is almost like half of the matches expected to be played. We're expected to play 38 matches. This is clearly not. The only thing it does for us is it boosts the confidence. It boosts our ability to say, yes, I think by now, just like the last time we were discussing, we said we were not expecting to be in this kind of position. This is, I think, our best position so far as a club. As at 19 matches played, I think we're on 50 points. This is the best we've ever attained. Even under the legendary Arsene Wenger and co, this is the best we've been at this point in time. So this is clearly not the season. This does not define how the season ends. But all it does for us is, it increases our confidence. And thank God for the likes of Arteta, and they do what they are doing in terms of the quality of players we're bringing in. And we've always said that we need squad depth, quality squad depth. Let me put it that way. And we also what Trossard brought in when he came in. We saw how he increased our potency in the attack. And with the guys we're buying, the Jacob that will be covering for Gabriel and co, we know that, okay, now we have good covers, we have quality covers in case, like expected, the tiredness that will come in, the injuries, we pray they don't have any major injuries. But in case some of them comes in, we now know we have good covers. Smith Rowe is back training, and we've not seen him how, if he's fully fit. But we all know that those guys are available and ready to take, those places when they are called on. So the Man U match is not it does not define the season, but it gives us a pointer that yes, we can actually beat anybody in the EPL. We can hold our own against the big boys, even teams in form, and we can actually challenge at this point for the trophy. That's what that match gives us.
Eddie, do you think it's a title decider, or is a season the defining moment for us winning that game?
I think it is a season defining moment, and I'll say why. I'm an American football fan, and we in American football, the game is played in 4 quarters, and if you break up the Premier League, 38 games into quarters, we're right now after the second quarter, and in American football, the last 4 minutes of the second quarter and the first 4 minutes of the third quarter are really, really important, for teams in terms of establishing how the rest of the game would go. So right now, I would say that we've done the second quarter, of the Premier League season, 19 games. Each quarter is about 9 games thereabout, and we've come out of that unscathed. So the next, we've done well in the last 3 games into that second quarter, and now the next 3 games is going to be important to setting, the momentum continuing for the rest of the season. So it's important because it was our 19th game. It was that game that, allows us to sort of say, right, we've done very well leading up to now. Let's kick on, so it gives the team confidence. It gives you points in the bank. Like they always say, games in hand don't mean anything. It's points in hand that takes all the difference. So for me, it was significant for Arsenal. It was significant for the confidence of the group, significant for the fans as well. And it's significant because it's halfway the season. Don't underestimate going halfway and losing just once. And now you look at the remaining half of the season and you start to think about it and say, well, now you've got some games that you need to play well. You've got teams that you need to play a second time, but it just gives you confidence that you have something that works. It's enough sample size to know what works and what doesn't work. And one thing is that Mikel Arteta learned from the mistakes he made at Old Trafford, because some substitutions that he made at Old Trafford actually changed the dimension, and the direction of that game at Old Trafford.
How do you mean?
Okay, so remember, we were 1 goal down. We came back into that game, and then we now made some key substitutions, to the team, and that actually changed the dynamics of the players. It changed, what the intensity that was happening in the game, and Man United hit us on the soccer punch, as it were, and they scored that goal. And then after that, we now lost another goal from a counter attack. So it didn't have the intended, reaction. Now, if you compare that with the substitution he made in this game, Ben White for Tomiyasu, to actually shut down the threat from Anthony, that was actually more of a positive, contribution to the way that we played, and it meant that we kept the intensity going throughout the game. And Trossard came into the game. He created the pass before the goal, which was really, really important. So you see how he looked at it and thought to himself, well, I need to make sure that when I do this substitution this time around in this game, they actually add positively to the outcome rather than take away from what the team was doing.
So I totally disagree there, Eddie, because Arteta made very positive changes in the reverse fixture as well. What happened in that game was, which is something that we learned, and it's not about the personnel, it's about the shape of the team when we are attacking, so that we can guard against counter attack. Now you notice Arsenal, every time Arsenal is pushing any team back, there is always a triangle behind the attacking players. So everybody can be on the front foot. Somebody is always in the center circle with 2 people not far away from him. So in case the counter attack is going to come from any angle, there is at least one person who's going to slow that counter down for anybody to come. Against United, we went gung-ho. He made very, very exciting substitutions in that game, and I can bring out the names of the players that came on. But what changed, I think, in this one, because that game as well, we were hit on the counter. Arsenal got hit on the counter, and that's how, for instance, Smith Rowe coming in was a very positive. That's in the first match. Smith Rowe coming in was a very, very positive change. Nketiah coming in was another positive change. But unfortunately, Fabio Vieira also coming in for Lokonga in that game was a positive change. But what the biggest problem in that game was the shape of the team. Everybody just went gung-ho because United they just kept defending for about a 20-30 minute period. And so I think we got carried away with that. And when the counter came, there was nobody to stop the counter. And that's something we learned. And it's not just for this game. after that game, I realized that our shape every time we're pushing people back has changed. We always have 3 players, 1 especially at the center circle, and 2 not far away from him, so that wherever the attack is coming from, wherever the counter is coming from, somebody must be there to slow down the attack. Somebody must be there to probably draw a foul last minute or something. And that's something I think he learned from that game. And so that's something that after that game, I've seen the team do well. So I don't think it's about not making exciting substitutions or substitutions that, kept us on the front foot. I don't think that was what happened. I just think it's the shape of the team, and we learned our lessons and we went back and we stopped doing that.